Hi, I'm Ross Burnell, editor and publisher of Fly Fisherman magazine. Welcome to Loop to Loop, where we make deeper connections with the people behind the magazine. Our sponsors today are Patagonia. Check out their new line of Swift Current waders. They have two models, Expedition and Traverse. They're both available as zip front. They've been redesigned and reseamed so that they're not only more durable and more comfortable, they're easier to repair. If you do spring a leak, you can get them fixed quickly and easily. And I love the way they work with the new line of stealth switch packs. The packs, they've got this cool method of clipping the packs onto your suspenders or wearing it on your wader belt, or you can change them into a hip pack or a sling pack. They're very versatile and flexible. We're also sponsored by G. Loomis Fly Rods, American-made rods made in Woodland, Washington. I've been using them since Steve Rajeff got me started on them 20 years ago. And today I use NRX Plus, Asquith, and IMX Pro rods for different situations, different species, and they're fantastic rods. So check them out. If you enjoy this podcast, please support our sponsors. And you can support us by subscribing to the magazine at flyfisherman.com. It's a little subscribe button in the top right-hand corner. You can also follow us on social media. On Instagram, we are at Fly Fisherman Magazine. On Facebook, just at Fly Fisherman. And hopefully you're watching this podcast on our YouTube channel, which is at Fly Fisherman Magazine. Our guest today is Mike Dawes, managing partner of Westbank Anglers, and we have the great privilege of being here in his fly shop today. We actually took the show on the road, traveled to Jackson, Wyoming, and we are filming today from a pretty amazing fly shop right on the Snake River. So usually I say thank you to our guest, but I'm your guest. Thank you for hosting us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
It's a pretty cool spot. What's your setup here?
Yeah, lucky to be here, right? I mean, I think things change. Everything changes, but town's pretty busy right now. But setup here is, the last piece of commercial property on the way to the Jackson Hole Mountain Resort. So it's a pretty lucky spot to be. Guide service, travel service, and full retail shop right behind you. So
you got the skiing right there,
fishing,
Snake River right there.
Yeah, some
It's
good
a nice
mountain
sandwich.
biking up there too.
Mountain biking's pretty rad.
Yeah, elk hunting. Yeah, there's some grouse hunting up there too.
Not a bad place to be.
Yeah.
But you didn't start out here. You're from the East Coast, which is where I'm from. Where are you from?
Yeah, originally Pennington, New Jersey. My whole father's side of the family was all from Philly. Mother's side was Ohio, but they settled in South Jersey and grew up there till I went off to school, which was in upstate New York. So
how do you get into fly fishing in Jersey?
Or
did you?
Great question. Yeah, no, it started real early. My grandfather and my father were avid anglers. My grandfather actually built a small house in 1959, I believe it was, on Deepwater Key before it was Deepwater Key, and he had a diesel generator. And some of my fondest memories are getting, packed in a Cessna that I would probably worry about flying in today with groceries and, for the whole couple of weeks. Because even back then, getting to Freeport. So that was one exposure, started real early into the salt. And then the Adirondacks and the Poconos were very common for our family. So it was pretty, in fact, I had to watch, I should have done this with my kids, but I had to watch my grandfather build my first rod before I was able to go fishing.
Wow.
So that was
premeditation.
Yeah, right.
And your grandfather was the one who got started fishing at Deepwater K.
Yeah. Yeah, and he wasn't really he was a small part, I'm presuming, but he was just You know, he was out by the small airstrip, and then I believe it was the first lodge in, when it got going, Gil Drake, I think it was the first lodge
Yes.
in the Bahamas.
Yeah, that's
So
like the very beginnings of like fly fishing for bonefish, really, as far as I know it. Because the very first issue of Fly Fisherman, there's a bonefish story in that, like from
really,
1869. Yeah,
wow, I'm gonna have to
and
check
it
that
was
out.
from Deepwater Cay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to research that.
I went there once when it had just changed ownership and they had just built it up, and it was a very, it was a great lodge. They just got 12 Hell's Bay skiffs a couple weeks before, so it was really nice. But now it's basically been returned to nature, I understand.
Yeah, unfortunately, right? That
Yeah,
was it wasn't Dorian.
Dorian. Yeah, I
It was
think it was
Dorian?
Dorian.
Yeah.
I think there's nothing out there.
Yeah, I mean there's probably some structures, but yeah, there's no one out there and not operating, unfortunate. I actually I got in a little bit of trouble um in college, and so I moved out down there.
Really?
And it just so happened that my uncle was managing Deepwater Key at the time, so this would have been 92, 93, maybe.
Uh-huh.
Um so that was another immersion that was incredible. But just growing up with my father and my grandfather, it was pretty prevalent. So I got into it, and then eventually, I think I really when I after I graduated school, I just packed up and moved out west, and that's when I hit the Rocky Mountains. I realized how much I didn't know.
Where'd you
And
move to in the Rockies? First off.
well, I was actually going to what was going to become a fly fishing outfitter up on the North Platte, and it never came to fruition. So I was really excited driving out west, and that then I ended up back in Denver, um, and ended up going back to business school. And at that time, started working at a fly shop called the Trout Fisher, which is unfortunately no longer in existence, but it was uh, it was an amazing experience. I mean, I quickly realized that I was the low man on the totem pole in the shop, but also like in terms of knowledge, I was very low
Yeah.
compared to the guys working there. So I was just a sponge, and I graduated business school and basically, I mean, I'm glad I did it, but I think I knew because I was working at the Trout Fisher to pay the rent and put food on the table, and just so happens that during that time I was like, I might want to give a go at this.
Yeah.
So stuck with it.
So you probably learned more like doing boots on the ground by experience than you did in school when it comes to running businesses like this, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a good combination.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. Um, but it, yeah, it was a very fortunate experience. I mean, I think I just learned a ton, and then ran into some health issues, and it was really after that where it was cemented. I wouldn't say, just because I was working in a fly shop, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. Um, but when you're up against it health wise, sometimes things get a little clearer. And I remember waking up and saying, like, I'm to myself, I'm gonna give it a go in the fly fishing business and see how it pans out. And here we are, 27 years later. So
Basically a whole career lifespan just working in fly shops, running fly shops and guide businesses, and
yeah,
been in the industry the whole time.
yeah. And there's I have a lot to learn, that's for sure. But I think that's what's attracted to me about it, right? You're never gonna get there. You're just gonna keep learning along the way, whether it's fishing or managing the business or the outfitter or the retail shop or travel stuff. It's continuous.
Yeah, it's a cool lifestyle. I haven't run into you here before, but we met at we've run into each other at trade shows before
Yeah,
and the Square Grouper.
Square Grouper, what a
Always,
spot.
I think a couple
Yeah,
of years I've run into you at the
yeah.
Square Grouper.
One of my favorite restaurants on the planet.
It's fun to be there at certain times of the year. It's like a mini conclave, or it's like,
Exactly.
hey, I know
Yeah.
that guy from a different state, but
Yeah.
it's
I
pretty
think
awesome.
were you with Bob Paulson when I ran into you?
I think Bruce Chart.
Bruce Char, that's right. Yeah. And I ran into Bruce down at Tierra del Fuego a couple of years ago as well, which was awesome.
Wow. So most of your fly shop, we talked about Colorado, but you've been in the Jackson area for a long time.
Yeah,
Is that right?
I moved out here in 2001. Um, and that was from eastern Wyoming, which is the HF Rock Creek Anglers, which was out at the HF Bar Ranch and is now also um, the fly shop in Sheridan, which
Okay.
I'm forgetting
I was
the
going to ask you,
Clark Smythe. So I was guiding out there because of my health issues. I was actually supposed to be in Alaska, so I was going to go from graduating business school, and the guys at the Trout Fisher were very helpful in figuring out a way for me to get up to Alaska to guide, and I really wanted to take it to the next level there. And the doctor said, "You're not. That's not happening.
yeah.
So um, you need to stay in the lower 48." And so I did. Just so happened I had a buddy who was running Rock Creek Anglers, and he said, "Come guide for me." And that was an amazing experience. And Fly Shop of the Bighorn, sorry, that was the name of the shop in
Okay.
Sheridan. And then just had a family friend in this area who ran into my father and asked what I was doing, and he filled him in. And he said, would he be willing to come talk to us in Jackson? And I drove along the Wind River, camped on the Wind River outside of Dubois, and then I think it was October, and drove down and saw the Tetons for the first time. It was cloudy, light drizzle. Stopped by Flat Creek. On the way in, there was big, very big fish rising on blueing olives. Was lucky enough to catch one of those. And then I was staring at the Tetons like, what is this place? So,
Mesmerizing,
yeah,
huh?
it was remarkable. And yeah, I've been here ever since. It's been, like I said, complain about certain things, traffic, right? Everyone has the right to bitch about a little bit of that stuff, but every day, this area doesn't get old, and
Yeah.
there's a lot to explore.
Good combination of scenery and fishing.
Yeah,
There's a lot of fishing options around here, right? Like you got spring creeks and big rivers you can float, and tiny little freestoners, and
endless,
has it all, right?
endless. Yeah, I mean
In
it's
terms of
and
trout fishing.
keeps. I always joke around that I'm going to stop traveling one day and check out the area where I live because there's so much here. It's a common phrase in the fly shop. It's you couldn't scratch it in a lifetime. You really couldn't. I mean, there's that much water, which is pretty remarkable and very fortunate. And I think as I get older, right? I mean, the fine spotted Snake River, fine spotted cutthroat. I mean, that's right. That fish is from here,
Yeah.
um, and there's not a lot of places that can say that.
That's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today. We didn't talk last night, but I was at the South Fork Initiative
Yeah,
event, fundraising event, and you were a donor there, and you're also on the board. Um, and I'm a big fan because I love cutthroats
yeah,
all my life. I love all the different kinds of cutthroats, and like these fish you have here are worth saving, and you're very involved in it. What is South Fork Initiative? Like, what are they doing?
yeah. It's in it. Well, it's a kind of a funny story because it started with a bunch of guides, and we started calling. I mean, this was probably, I don't know, maybe 2016, 2017. It was an eye opener at the Henry's Fork Foundation. I remember going to, the banquet before the ranch opened, and I hadn't been to that event. And I remember watching the event go down and watching the auction and the silent auction. And at the end of it, I was like, this is a very significant amount of money being raised in one evening. Um, how does all of this take place on the Henry's Fork and nothing? takes place on the South Fork. And so a bunch of guides got together, and strong start, but it kind of didn't really progress. And then people, Ron Miller and Shane Fleming, and some other folks that live in Swan Valley started getting involved and said, "Hey, can we pick this up and get this going?" And then it really started to come to fruition. So the guides kind of let it fizzle, but busy, and then it was a strong suggestion that with considering it really ends up being the same body of water, would the Henry's Fork Foundation have any interest in getting involved? And so we kind of pushed that angle hard. And so it's an initiative of the Henry's Fork Foundation now. And really just stewardship of the South Fork of the Snake River, and, science and research, and putting some sondes in the water. And for, those that don't know what sondes are, they're actually units that are placed in the river, and they can read turbidity and temperature, water flow. And so it really gives you amazing real-time data. And then also, we started with a lot of macro invertebrate studies just to see the bug population health. And last night was really cool just because it's come a long way. And to think I had a small part in that, it's pretty fulfilling. I mean, it is, it's going.
The things that really two things that really impressed me is like the money and effort people were putting forward to save their river. Like sometimes you run into these organizations, people are pretty lackadaisical, not that motivated, but these people are very motivated and pretty hyped up about it.
Yeah.
And I also like we're often guilty of like, let's get a conservation organization after the place is already completely screwed and you have to like come back from almost nothing. Fishing on the South Fork's great.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fishing there.
That's an amazing point. That's exactly right.
So why not like get an organization started and get like baseline data so you can keep it good? It seems like that's easier.
Yeah.
Or to, improve it a little bit or keep it good than to basically wait around till a place gets wrecked and then try to do something about it.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, it's an amazing fishery. In fact, sometimes it's mind-boggling, like how it, huge body of water, so it can handle a ton. But how just year after year, and for a long time there, maybe, 2000 to 2010, not a lot of people, it wasn't on a lot of radars. It kind of, to be that big of a piece of water.
And to be sort of like a sneaky spot. It is kind of tucked away in a valley over there.
Yeah.
That is very interesting.
It's super interesting. And
I think one reason is maybe because it's hard to wade when, the fishing can be very good when the river's big.
Yeah.
That's a pretty tough river to get out and wade on your own.
Yeah, very hard. In fact,
life-threatening.
Yeah. We tell most people, like, you can give it a shot, but the spots are pretty limited, and it is, one of those rivers where you kind of need to be in a drift boat, like you're saying. So, but even now, today, I mean, it's known, things have changed a little bit in terms of the amount of people fishing it, but the fishing hasn't changed. Yeah. In fact, some could argue, it's gotten better.
Yeah, in fact, Jack Dennis was sitting behind me at the table, and we got to talking, and he's like, the fishing's so much better than it used to be. And he started off on the South Fork.
Yeah.
But he got started on everything. It's like, back in my prime, fishing's way better almost everywhere today because of regulation changes and efforts of conservation organization, catch and release. Basically, I thought that was pretty refreshing. Usually you run into the older guys was like, fishing ain't like it used to be, but it was the exact opposite. It's like, fishing's a lot better than it used to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's a positive spin, right? We need a little bit of that.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, it can't all be bad news.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're doing this conservation work over on the South Fork, and it seems like where do you guide? Like, we're here in Jackson. It seemed like you have wide influencer.
Yeah, yeah,
You're everywhere.
yeah, we have a good variety because all of Yellowstone National Park, which is a big playground, Grand Teton National Park. So, pretty fortunate to live just south of two national parks. I mean, that's pretty amazing. And the snake, obviously, starting in the Grand Teton National Park, starting up in Yellowstone, sorry, all the way down to Alpine, Wyoming, and the Green River down, coming out of the Green River Lakes all the way down to Fontenelle. And we're down there as well, and then the New Fork River, and then the South Fork of the Snake, and some other tributaries. And so, yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of water, and our, I think one thing that I'm focused on is just making sure that the menu is greater than the amount of guides, so that we can kind of stay small and pivot to the best offerings that we have available. And that's just after a long time of doing a lot of outfitting.
That's it. Ah, that's a great philosophy.
Yeah, that's where I got to figure out how to make the money. But yeah, right. I mean, and at one point in time at WorldCast, we were one of the largest outfitters in the country, if not the world. And it was amazing group of people, amazing opportunity. I was there for 20 years. But it was one of those things where, if you climb the top of the mountain, sometimes you wonder, did you climb the right one? Especially when COVID happened, right? I mean, the resources around this area changed a little little more pressure. And maybe it's also getting older. I mean, I don't know, but it's, yeah, it's a really special area, like we were talking about before. I really don't think you couldn't even scratch the itch. I mean, Yellowstone alone, I mean, there's just so much. There's so much to do and so much to fish. It's remarkable.
So how's the you mentioned the big change in COVID, change in pressure. How has the fly shop business changed over the years? What's the biggest change you've seen in your career?
Well, I mean, I'll never forget in March of 2020, I was running the numbers as to, when we were going to be out of business. I mean, full mindset of, looking at the cash flow and thinking, maybe June 1st, but because everyone was just right, it was just going to be crickets.
Yeah.
And so to have that go from that mentality for a couple of weeks to then navigating what was going on and then have the whole thing flip on itself was a wild ride. Um, and and then the peaks and valleys a little bit after that, right? I mean, even 21, it just kept in this area, it just kept going. And to be honest, I don't know how much it's dipped. I mean, I think it's plateaued a couple times, but the interest here is still as strong as it's been, probably in 2020. I mean, even like park visitations, I think this year, a couple of months broke whatever happened in 2021.
Yeah, people still want to go to the parks. Like
Yeah.
everybody's still highly motivated to get outside, which is a bad thing if you were dealing with other people, but
yeah,
it's
but
good for humans.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
good
And
for
everything,
humans.
right?
Get
Everything
out there.
changes. And I think also I don't know, for me, it's like part of my struggle with social media and all of it, is that we're moving at such a pace. The AI world. We were having a conversation last night at the South Fork event where it was like, soon you can choose between a live travel agent and an AI travel agent. I mean, that'll be in the next 3 months probably.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so the pace at which we're relying on technology and moving, I do feel like these actual in-person live experiences are only going to become more valuable. Whether that's music or fishing or mountain biking or hiking, I just feel like I feel like they're gonna only increase in value, and we're just lucky enough to be here to hopefully provide a really good service.
Yeah, and there was a point when we thought there would be no in-person events anymore, but now maybe it helps us cherish them more. Like that was so cool being in that tent with hundreds of people who are all
Yeah,
psyched up about the South Fork.
absolutely. And I think, yeah, and I don't know how much of it is. I mean, it would be. I'd ask you the question. I mean, how when you go fishing these days, how much of is it about being out there versus catching the fish?
Not about catching the fish. It's about being out there. And honestly, there's a lot of people that they like going fishing alone.
Yeah,
I I don't. For me, fishing's a very social event. I need
yeah,
to go with a buddy, so I can laugh at him, he can laugh at
yeah,
me. You know, it's a good time. Somebody else can row the raft. We
yeah,
can listen to music, drink beer, or I could take my little grandkid or something.
yeah,
There's definitely a social event, and if I can't share it with somebody, I may as well work
yeah,
most of the time.
yeah. Right. So
Yeah.
I think the fishing is all. I mean, it's Thoreau said it right. I mean, and many men fish their whole lives without realizing it's not the fish they're after. But I think you have to go through all those. I mean, I remember times where I needed to catch fish and big fish and a lot of fish, and but I don't know. These days, for me, I just this area is so special, and there's so many special places around the world that just being out there and solitude with sharing good times with people, like you said. I mean, that's really what moves me.
You get to a point where it's like, I could catch a fish if I did this, but nah, I'm
Yeah,
just gonna fish and drive by and
exactly.
really don't care.
100%.
But yeah, the special times with the little people,
Yeah.
the younger people, I really love that. I've got a little nephew coming in tonight when we're done the podcast, and he's 13 years old, and he's gonna, see the Tetons for
Oh,
the
yeah.
first time and
It's amazing.
catch cutthroat for the first time and stuff. And I'm gonna get a way bigger, I might not even make a cast. I
Yeah,
just want to
that's
hang out,
awesome.
feel the excitement.
Yeah,
It's fun.
my daughter last spring, we were talking about spring break because that's a big, got to get out of here, a little winter cabin fever, if you will, and we decided that my wife and I were going to go, take the kids to Costa Rica, and my daughter was like, all of a sudden she had a frown, and I was like, "What's wrong, Rumsey?" And she was like, "I don't want to leave," and I was like, "All
It's
right, well
Costa
at least."
Rica.
Yeah, she's like, "I want to stay in Jackson," and I was like, "All right." We didn't. We went to Costa Rica, but I just feel like that was a moment of like, I did everything. I've done a lot of things too early as a parent, but that was one where it was like now they understand where they live and they're appreciating it and they love it. So it's
That's cool.
yeah.
Was Costa Rica a fishing trip or just a hanging out trip? Did you fish?
It didn't. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It was I think I went to Mexico right afterwards, but it was a family trip, which is interesting because now since then I've gotten a little pushback because I think my kids are a little tired of everyone talking fishing, asking about fishing. Um, but my son said, "Well, if we go back to Costa Rica, can we fish this year?" And I was like, "There we go." So,
Yeah.
and the little
That is
reverse
the soft
psychology.
sell. I love it. Next thing you know, you'll
Exactly.
all be out there rooster fishing with
Yeah,
them.
he was asking me how much a guide makes the other day, so he's already
His career
he's
might be
already
set. Yeah.
thinking. Yeah. But
Have you fished in Costa Rica?
I fished Costa Rican waters from David, Panama, but not
Okay.
like Costa Rica proper.
What was that? Sailfish?
That was, yeah, marlin, sailfish, roosters, cubera snapper, some spin rod stuff as well. Tuna, obviously, was the one
Yeah.
of the main draws.
Well, I definitely wanted to talk saltwater fishing today because you're kind of the permit man or one of the
No.
permit, like your crew you run with are, a lot of the best
Yeah,
permit fishermen in the world. You're frequently in these tournaments and winning them, like the Del Brown you've won, the Merkin.
yeah.
Couple times?
Yeah.
Tell me. Tell
Yeah,
me
no,
about your accomplishments in the tournaments,
I
because
mean,
it's impressive.
well, thank you, but I have plenty to learn. But yeah, the Del Brown with Will Benson was incredible experience. We won that, and then the March Merkin with Will Benson, and then the March Merkin when just really getting going hardcore in permit fishing with Don Gable. That was one that was pretty special, and then we did 5 years of the Blacktail Invitational down in Punta Allen. Won that a couple times, and that was really cool because that was actually spawned from. I fish in Mexico quite a bit, and there was one time where I was fishing with Pato, who's a legendary guide out of Casablanca, and I was running the idea by him, like, well, what if we held a permit tournament in Punta Allen? And he said to me, like, well, I don't know. I said, well, why not? And he's like, well, I've never been there. And I was, it's right there, like, and
Wow.
he had been at Casablanca for, at that time, 20 years. And so that's really what the motivation was behind that tournament, was obviously to give some funds to BTT. But seeing as though it was a bunch of kind of fishing bums, it wasn't a ton of money, but we did what we could. But it was amazing to me that all of these guides down there never had the ability to connect. And it was really cool when they got together and got to hang. And it was a little weird at first, but I do think there was I know there was friendships that still exist from that. So that was another great tournament. And then the kids came along and had to back off the tournament fishing a little bit, but um, I'm more jazzed than ever to give it a shot down the line again. I don't know exactly when. I've never fished the IGFA permit tournament, so that will be the next one to
Okay.
fish.
Those are big deals. And you fish with some of the best guides. You've done some films on permit fishing too, right?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
With RA?
Yep, with RA. We just did one in July, which will be it'll be really cool. With David Chang, the chef.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he and I fished together down there for a long time with Jorge from Playa Blanca originally, and now he's at Blacksmith. But Sam Flea and then Jose from Kai Fly, and they're fishing the tournaments in Key West as well these days. And
They're the Punta Allen greats.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, Sam Flea came in from Holbox and won. He's won multiple tournaments, and then so is Jose, I believe.
And he broke Del Brown's record
Yep.
first.
Yeah,
and then your buddy Mike.
Yeah, and then Mike Ward as well, and I I'm super fortunate that those guys are some of my best friends, right? I mean, I think there was a time where we were all on a level playing field in terms, most, as you know, most permit anglers keep track. They might not talk about it, but they know how many they've caught. And there was kind of a level playing field amongst us, and it was fun competition for a little bit. And then those two guys just went to a different level. One of them lives on the ocean, which is a little more of an advantage, and the other
Big
one
advantage.
gets to fish more than me. So,
what are they doing different besides fishing more? I mean, that's obviously makes a big difference. They're out there more, but what makes a really amazing? What's the difference between like a regular schmuck like me and the best permit fisherman?
That's a great question. I think there's a lot of things, but one that comes to mind is the ability to read the fish. And in order to do that, there's so many things I feel like you need to move beyond. I mean, half the time you're permit fishing, you're looking at, if you just got rejected by a permit, you're looking at the fly and you're wondering, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to host enough trips and probably watch more than I fish for a permit, and watch people go through the different stages and fly confidence is always one of those stages where it's like, is this, and it's amazing. You can stay quiet and watch it accelerate, or you can say like, put this on, it's caught more permit than any other flies in the world. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, tie it on. And then you see them remove that. And then it's, the cast, was I close enough? Like, so I think what these guys, all of that stuff's in the past and it's gone. It's not in their heads. And they've trained themselves in an ability of a short memory, kind of like a golfer, so to speak, right? Like they took their shot and it's over. You either learn from it or you don't, and you have to move on to the next one. So all of those factors, tippet, the line they're using, the rod, the wind, that's just all gone. They're not thinking about that because they know they're going to execute. They know that they've done it enough, that they have enough data points, and I feel like that's the problem with permit fishing in general is there's no data. You go permit fishing for a week where you get like 3 minutes of total data. So I think they're reading the fish, and they know how to react and adjust what they're doing to put themselves in the best position to get that fish to eat. And then when they eat, just because they've caught a ton, they know what they're doing. So it's yeah, and it never ends. I mean, it's amazing to watch their passion grow, right? I mean,
There's so little feedback. That's what's amazing to me about these guys that have caught so many. It's just I get so little feedback. It's really hard to understand them, but it'd be amazing to like get in their heads a little more and
oh
be able
yeah,
to understand them. I fished with Lincoln Westby for a couple weeks, and
yeah,
like he could really understand that, and that's what I like about these permit legends.
yeah.
Like it's like they think like a fish. They know what the fish can do.
Yeah. And there's times where I wonder if what they're saying is fake. Like Lincoln Westby could tell you probably to the minute on certain flats where a fish would tail. And then you see it and you're like, how, like, is that real? You know what I mean? Like, did that really just happen? Um, yeah. And I think being in tune with the environment, I mean, I think it's a hard one. And those guys, the anglers and the guides, right? I mean, I think the ones they haven't, that the one you can't really describe, where it's just a different, the sixth sense, if you will.
You mentioned, was it Blackfin Lodge?
Blacksmith.
Blacksmith.
Yeah,
Blacksmith Lodge. That's brand new.
it is. Yeah, just opened in end of January this year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Have you been there?
yeah. I've been there. Yeah, 4 times I think now.
How was it?
So it's awesome. It's awesome, and it's a great story. Jorge, Yeti's, I think Yeti's doing a piece on it. It's really just it's a heartwarming story when you look at it. I mean, Jorge had to drop out of high school because you know, they didn't have enough money to go to school, on to being a gardener at Casablanca, and then learning how to be a fishing guide, and then the head guide, and then eventually broke out on his own, and now is a part owner of a fishing lot. I mean, it's just who
Wow.
doesn't like underdogs, right? I mean, it's just a really great story.
It's amazing the way fly fishing affects some people's lives. I mean,
It's
so many people that we run into, it's changed everything for them.
Yeah, it's remarkable, and providing different opportunities. It's just, I mean, when we were talking about it when I was down there a couple weeks ago, and I was like, you never had, did you ever have any training at all, any education in English? And he's like, never. Like, not one class, nothing, because he speaks fluent English.
Mm-hmm.
So that was all an opportunity that he took from people speaking English in his boat. I mean, what a great, I mean,
Took advantage.
yeah.
Love it. Can you talk about the movie you just made, or is it too early?
Um, Well,
I
I
love
think,
sneak peeks.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be, I mean, RA, I'm not sure if I'll be talking in the right direction, but yeah, I mean, I think it's David Chang, myself, and Jorge, and I'm probably, not a big part of it, but Jorge's that kind of storyline I'm talking about, and then David Chang's
But
story.
this is different from the Yeti film you were just
Yeah,
talking about with
sorry.
Jorge.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, separate. Okay,
I think the Yeti film is going to be just Jorge,
just Jorge.
and then this one was the three of us, um, and yeah, it was just very cool because we all came back together. And if you go back 10 years, we're all in different capacities. David Chang's still opening up restaurants in New York City. And then, he had to make a bunch of pivots. I was still at World Anglers. I've had to make a bunch of pivots. Jorge was at Playa Blanca. So here we are in this new environment with all of these, life lessons, and still coming back together because of this fish is pretty remarkable. And I think the the takeaway, I think, and we'll see where the movie goes. Hopefully, that's a part of it. But the takeaway was, you know, just how hard permit fishing is, but also, kind of the life and fast forward, how you can learn a lot from the fish, and that's I think why it's so addicting to me. I mean, it's forced meditation at a different level. I mean, I think all fishing is. But I think permit fishing, especially when things are slow, you'd be staring at water, having to pay attention and focus for days on end. Um, I don't know. I feel like we could all learn a little bit from
Learn
that.
how to focus.
Yeah, and and be and be right. Be present and not. I mean, it's amazing. I've always thought about like permit fishing when you know, when there's a permit tailing or something's going on, like people's brains are a lockbox at that point. Like nothing can penetrate. And that fish in that moment makes you be about as present as, you know, I don't know anything else, at least for me. And I'm sure there's skiers have it, football players have it, bikers probably have it. I don't know, but I ended up with that fish. And usually the difference is right, that it's just you and the sport you're trying to do. And then here you've got an animal involved, a fish involved. Some of the comparisons I've heard are mostly that make the most sense to me are from people bow hunting for elk, where they come back smiling without having success.
You get a little time inside your own head to just like
Yeah,
be peaceful and
yeah,
wait for things to happen and teach yourself things.
yeah, and
Forced meditation. I've never heard that before, but that is an amazing description.
yeah. I hope. I mean, it's what it is to me. I'm glad it resonates with you. I mean, I'm sure it does. Um, but yeah, I mean, hopefully that maybe some the challenges of struggling and having to make changes, and I think hopefully the movie touches on a little bit of all of that. But RA's, we'll see where he heads with it.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
Yeah,
It'll be good.
yeah,
I always love his stuff.
yeah. He's been doing it for quite some time.
What's next for you? Do you have some big adventures? What's the
Yeah,
big next fly fishing adventure?
I'm going to Cape York, Australia.
Wow,
Yeah.
yes.
So the
With
west side of Cape York.
is that with Josh?
Yes, exactly. And so next month heading there, and it was great because I was in the Wessels with Josh a couple years ago, and someone said to me, "Well, did you catch an annex permit?" And, one of the four, soon to be a fifth, that they've recognized species of permit to catch on the fly. And I was like, I don't know. And then I was started to go through some photos, and I was like, you know what? I'm not doing that. I'm just gonna go catch one. So,
Okay.
so
So you
hopefully-
haven't caught that one yet. You don't know.
I
Yeah.
don't know, but I was like, instead of saying I have and or trying to look through photos to say I have. I might as well just go.
Have you caught an Indo-Pacific permit?
I've caught a bunch. Yeah.
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 That's like next on my list. I really want to catch one. I'm going to St. Brandon's in October.
Oh, amazing.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've fished for them before, but I've never caught one. And
I can't.
I want one of those yellow ones.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk to you afterwards because some of the pattern, like the behaviors in the Indo-Pacific permit, is mind-boggling to me. Very different.
Really?
Very different. Yeah. I mean, they
But
must
you've
be.
caught a bunch, so you must have figured something out.
Yeah, I've got some. Oh, yeah, some flies. I've caught a bunch of St. Brandon's. But something they're eating at times, and I mean, there's been different, guesses, if you will, as to what it is. But some think it's tick shells, which is a very, very small white shell. Some people think in certain places it's brittle stars, but it has the same effect. Like I've seen it in St. Brandon's, I've seen it in Australia, I've seen it all over the Seychelles, where it's almost like the fish is stoned. Like they'll keep tailing and you can get very close and you can put the fly in front of them and they just keep doing their thing and won't even acknowledge.
Wow.
It's pretty wild.
Does it seem sort of like they're grazing then? If it's those little shells just laying there, they're just grazing.
Yeah. Yeah, but no interest. And then the thing that really throws the head scratcher is I've had a moment in St. Brandon's where I've had a fish doing that, solo fish grazing, and I stayed with it for at least a half an hour and then didn't change I think I had already changed the fly so many times that I came back. So essentially I hadn't changed the fly. I went back to the confidence box. So like, give me the fly that's caught the most permit on this atoll. And it was that one. And he ate that fly, but he had already seen. So I
So it
don't know.
wasn't the fly after all. It was just a matter of repetition and getting it in the right spot where he happened to be going along.
Yeah. And the fish just maybe having a slight change of mood, which
Yeah.
totally makes sense when you think about it, right?
It's almost like carp behavior. It doesn't matter what your fly is. Like sometimes the carp's just feeding
Yeah.
along the bottom and it just has to be in the spot where he's sucking up whatever crap it is they're eating.
Yeah, but yeah, hopefully, or I could be wrong, 100% wrong, but I do think that there's something that they're eating that is changing like their actual
Yeah, making them do that.
behavior. Like because usually, I mean, one of the most
Right.
neurotic fish in the world, right, becomes docile. And that doesn't register correctly in my brain,
Yeah.
but
That's
it's
mind-boggling because
fascinating.
usually they're here, there. Like that's the most frustrating part about permit is not being able to anticipate their trajectory. Like for me,
Yeah.
so
Oh,
they're zigzagging all over the damn place.
and I think that's why it's registered with me. So I'll never forget Mike Ward and I, we were in the Seychelles, at Poivre, and which is probably, one of the highest populations of Indo-Pacific permit out there. And we were having a great walk together. And then it was like, you see him? I was like, got him. And it's like, who's up? All right, you go. And there was probably at least 55, 60 fish, somewhere in there. And they're all tailing almost, at times 2 or 3 abreast, or sometimes just head to tail. And they were all acting in that way. And we chased them forever and changed flies and were able to get back together and discuss it. And nothing. I mean, it left a
Wow.
mark.
That many fish and two of the best permit fishermen on planet Earth and no dice.
And they were eating, right? So it was just, yeah. But I just a couple of years ago, I had my first permit taken without being hooked up. So I was about to make a cast, and then all of a sudden the water exploded, and there's blood everywhere, and I had no idea what was going on. I was waiting, and I was about to go get the fish and the blood, and then I was like, well, something, I should probably go back to the boat. So I get in the boat and then see the fish flopping around, and I grabbed it and cut the stomach open. It was a barracuda that hit it.
Okay, I saw that on Instagram. I
Yeah.
didn't even put two and two together that was you.
And then the snails,
Yes,
right? So maybe the Atlantic permit have the same. I don't know.
I saw that. That was very cool. Like you didn't even have that fish hooked up.
Yeah, I was free swimming. Yeah, it was.
But who gets to look inside a permit stomach like that?
Yeah.
That was a really cool photo.
Thank you. Yeah, and I kept the crushers, which is really cool.
Was that on Westbank Anglers Instagram account or yours?
I think it was on mine.
What's your Instagram account?
It's at mdawes jr. Sorry, at mdawes jr.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to get better.
MDawes Jr.
mdawes jr. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to get better at the social media.
Hey, that was pretty good. You don't see stuff like that every day.
That was
I saw the picture. I'm like, did a shark get it? But a big cuda, huh?
big cuda. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't go over.
And left half of a fish.
Yeah, it was just kind of flopping. That was kind of wild because I was literally. I mean, the cast was. I was in my, fly out, going back, about to come forward, and the whole water blew up, and I kind of laid my cast down. Like, what just happened?
The stuff that you see out there on the flats, like, there's a lot of time passes, nothing happens, but you're in a place where sometimes some crazy things happen. It's just, you're in the perfect point of view to be a spectator. It's pretty incredible.
Remarkable. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's really hard to have a bad day out there. I mean, I don't know. It's yeah.
Can only have a bad day if you're seasick. Did you get seasick going to St. Brendan?
Yeah.
I'm scared about that.
Yeah, I've been out there. I did 5 trips out there, and yeah, I mean, I'd like to sugarcoat it, but there's no. I mean, the boat ride is awful.
Tough.
I mean, it's. And for those that are maybe don't get seasick, it's not bad at all. I don't throw up a lot, but I just get. I just need to lie down.
Not feeling good.
But it's funny. I've been out there with people who are like, I don't get seasick, and I was like, okay, well then it should be great, and then an hour like you leave the lee of the island and you head out, and something about that geography, the way that the waves stack up, and then you see them start to turn a little pale, and you know, but it's worth it. Obviously, I mean that place, it's really special.
Yeah.
Some of the prettiest flats in the
I'll have to
world.
pick your brain about flies and stuff.
Absolutely.
I want to go fully loaded, obviously.
Yeah. When are you going?
October, middle of October sometime.
Awesome.
Supposedly the tides are good and stuff. Like
Yeah.
I picked it almost 2 years ago.
Oh, that's great.
So it should be good. I'll pick your brain for more details. It'll be awesome.
Yeah, watch out for the cone snail. Or no, the cone shell.
Yep.
The one that shoots the darts.
Kill you, yeah.
Yeah.
So we chatted about how fun it is to get young people into fly fishing, and like being in this business, teaching is everything. And one of your big projects that I've seen recently is Fish Camp Collective. Do I have the name right?
Yeah, Fish Camp.
Just Fish Camp.
Yeah, is the name of the company, which I've been lucky enough to do. I did the foundations class, which to your point was amazing. Like if you're interested in getting into fly fishing at all, it shouldn't be intimidating, right? And so I was lucky enough to be the instructor on the foundational course, but there's, they have a lot of courses and are adding more all the time.
Yeah, it's a great resource. I like the segment you did on all the foundational stuff. I mean, that stuff's dead on for trout, but I like the breadth of what you have. Like one that really caught my eye is the carp. You did a movie on carp, didn't you?
Yeah, Carpland
With Bear.
Yeah, Bear.
Yeah.
Bear was in the when we went to Peoria, Illinois, with the Asian carp, when we ended up water skiing with nets, and
those are crazy.
Crazy.
But in Fish Camp, my buddy Jeff Courier, he
Yeah.
did the carp thing for you guys, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
So you have every like
Yeah. I
range of
mean,
different species and
yeah, JK's got, the guys at fish camp, they've got, I think they're just getting going, and it's gonna be, it already, like you said, it's already a good breadth of classes, and I'm just glad to be, one of the instructors, and hopefully can add some more down the line. Like, we did some really cool, just tidbits the other day when we were on the South Fork, just about how to fish it out of a drift boat, and I think it's, I mean, education and conservation, right? I mean, who can't get behind that? So
the
hopefully,
information's really good too. Like a few minutes ago, we were talking about AI and stuff like that. Like you're going to talk to agent or AI, but AI is putting out a lot of bad information. I know you Google on certain fishing techniques and AI will spit out an answer, but really still expert sources are the best way for anybody to learn. Like AI cannot replicate this kind of stuff.
yeah, absolutely. And I think, right, the topics are endless too. Because if you're interested in entomology, there's basic entomology, but then there's, you know, PhD etymology. So, the amount of courses you could get out of that, or trout fishing alone. I mean, whether it's, PMD fishing or stoneflies or streamer fishing or nymph fishing, or, I mean, it just goes on, right? So,
I love how you said that education and conservation goes together because I really believe that. Like you need to bring new fly fishers into it because those are the people that are going to be running the Trout Unlimited chapters or, showing up at South Fork Initiative things and, you know, doing political action campaigns that can make a real difference. If we don't have people working on these things, we need the people
yeah,
basically. And
yeah,
sometimes I hear from people they're more concerned about, oh, I don't want someone in my fishing spot. Fishing's crowded enough as it is. Maybe if you're here, but
yeah,
not where I live. Like we
yeah,
need more fly fishers because
yeah,
it's we need them to protect the rivers. Otherwise, they have no voice.
yeah, 100%. And we need a louder voice.
And education, like what Fish Camp's doing, is not just about how to fish, it's how to release the fish carefully,
Yeah,
how to be sensitive to the habitat, how to leave no trace, how to stop fishing when the water temperature is too high.
yeah.
Like that's all education too, and that's very
Etiquette.
etiquette.
Yeah, and sometimes people don't, I mean, if you right, they might not know. So, how do you approach a situation like that? But etiquette, I think, is a big one
Yeah.
as well.
And etiquette is a trickier one because it varies so much from place to place and river to river. It's hard for people to figure out. Like personal space on the San Juan River is different than personal space in
100%.
places in Pennsylvania, like,
Yeah.
a little mountain stream. If someone else fishing there, you don't fish that stream, you know?
Yeah, and different than rivers in Montana, right? I mean, it's all so approachable, you know. I think that's part of it too, is if someone doesn't know, we're often quick to snap at judgment about it, but maybe they don't know, and maybe they're just getting into it. So a pleasant conversation could go a long way, as opposed to, you know, bitching about it afterwards. I mean, it's, I don't know. I don't know. I love the concept of just continue. I mean, that's why we do this, right? I
Yeah.
mean, continue learning and conservation and being a part of, hopefully raising funds for those efforts. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about it.
There's a lot to teach people.
Yeah.
When somebody gets inside my personal space, I don't harass them about it. I just like, you want to get close enough, you're going to be my buddy? Let's talk like buddies. So I'm
Yeah.
just like, hey, how's it going? Just have a nice conversation. You want to
Exactly.
get friendly?
Yeah.
We'll get friendly. And then after we have a good conversation, I'll move along and, you know, you get to a better starting point where you can explain to someone
Yeah.
hey, you really shouldn't high hole people like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, right? You get to a point where you can say, "Hey, like, great talking to you, but" and also, just so you know,
Yeah.
there might be someone that doesn't not as nice as you were to them.
Don't start with the conflict is a good point.
Yeah,
But I think Fish
exactly.
Camp's doing great stuff. We shared a bunch of their clips on our YouTube channel, and it's a great effort. We're happy to be collaborating with them.
Yeah, it's a great effort, and I'm just lucky to be a small part of it. Um,
Well, thank you for having us here in your amazing shop, the Westbank Anglers. What's their Instagram handle?
at Westbank
Just
Anglers.
at Westbank Anglers, and yours is M. Dawes Jr. or
M.
Jr.
Jr. Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
I loved being here, and thank you for having us.
Appreciate you for having me.
Thanks,
Thank you
man.
very much.